Hello and welcome to Foreign Dispatches, the program that takes you around the world in 25 minutes. I'm Layo Adegoke. On the program this week, Omicron variant of the coronavirus continues to spread, with the World Health Organization saying at least 77 countries have detected a case. Also, residents in Mayfield, Kentucky are trying to get back to normal after several tornadoes destroyed their homes and communities. The World Health Organization is warning that the new coronavirus variant, Omicron, is spreading across the globe at an unprecedented rate. Cases of the heavily mutated variant have now been confirmed in at least 77 countries, with WHO Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus suggesting it is probably in many other countries that have yet to detect it.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for following.
The World Health Organization has warned that the new coronavirus variant Omicron is probably already present in most countries around the world. Cases of the heavily mutated variant have been confirmed in 77 countries, but WHO Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus says it was probably in many others that had yet to detect it and was spreading at an unprecedented rate.
77 countries have now reported cases of Omicron. And the reality is that Omicron is probably in most countries, even if it hasn't been detected yet. Omicron is spreading at a rate we have not seen with any previous variant. We're concerned that people are dismissing Omicron as mild. Surely, we have learned by now that we underestimate this virus at our peril.
According to Dr. Ghebreyesus, vaccine booster shots can play a role in curbing the spread of COVID-19 as long as people most in need of protection also get access to jabs.
The emergence of Omicron has prompted some countries to roll out booster programs for their entire adult populations, even while we lack evidence for the effectiveness of boosters against this variant. WHO is concerned that such programs will repeat the vaccine hoarding we saw this year and exacerbate inequity. It's clear that, as we move forward, boosters could play an important role, especially for those at highest risk of severe disease and death.
Meanwhile, 2 doses of Pfizer-BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine appear to have given 70% protection against hospitalization in South Africa in recent weeks and 33% protection against infection. That's according to a major real-world study that suggests weaker efficacy against the new Omicron variant. However, the findings are not conclusive. The study released on Tuesday by Discovery Health was based on more than 211,000 positive COVID-19 test results from November 15 to December 7. Around 78,000 of those results were attributed to Omicron and not confirmed as such, meaning the study cannot be definitive findings about the variant. Shirley Coley, Chief Health Analytics Actuary at Discovery Health, explains.
In the prior period, the vaccine effectiveness amongst our client base in the period September to October was sitting at 93%. In other words, our fully vaccinated Pfizer clients were 93% less likely to be admitted to hospital for COVID-19 when Delta was circulating. However, now in the Omicron period, that has reduced to 70%.
However, Discovery Health cautioned that the findings should be considered preliminary, with CEO Ryan Nurch saying they are still encouraging.
What is clear is that vaccinated individuals are experiencing milder infections in general, and that's supported by the data shown by the 70% effectiveness against severe illness, and also supported by anecdote where we're hearing that it's primarily the unvaccinated that are requiring admission and also that are requiring oxygen in hospital.
Well, Pfizer Incorporated is saying its final analysis of its antiviral COVID-19 pills still showed near 90% efficacy in preventing hospitalizations and deaths in high-risk patients. And recent lab data suggests the drug retains its effectiveness against the fast-spreading Omicron variant of the coronavirus. The U.S. drug maker last month said the oral medicine was around 89% effective in preventing hospitalizations or deaths when compared to placebo, based on interim results in around 1,200 people. The data disclosed on Tuesday includes an additional 1,000 people.
Mayfield natives are returning to help those devastated by Friday's tornado. Neighbors across Kentucky are offering shelter to friends who lost their homes to deadly tornadoes. Strangers are showing up with chainsaws to clear down trees, and restaurants handed out gift cards for hot meals to those without water or power.
As the state dug out from a devastating string of twisters that killed at least 74 people and destroyed and damaged 1,000 homes, the acts of kindness have been arriving in ways both big and small. 41-year-old Ricky Murphy said he barely recognized his hometown when he arrived from Louisville, Kentucky, immediately after the storm to check on his mother and siblings and pitch in on cleanup efforts.
You don't recognize anything. Like, I was downtown and didn't know I was downtown. I literally was looking around like, like, there's no buildings, nothing but bricks, and I didn't know if I was on Broadway or not. Like, that is, I mean, it doesn't even sound right coming out of my mouth.
Many people rushed to the aid of hard-hit Mayfield, a working-class farming and manufacturing community of 10,000 people in western Kentucky, where residents said everybody knows one another and families often stay for generations.
This is our neighborhood. We got to take care of ourselves. Like, our people can't leave here and go there. Like, people's cars are destroyed, houses are destroyed. They don't have a way to get from there way over here and bring supplies back. It's going to be impossible.
The city's water tower, long part of its flat landscape, had been leveled. Many of the historic buildings of its small downtown, some dating back to the 19th century, were reduced to piles of bricks. By Monday, Murphy was helping hand out clothes, food and supplies outside Fairview Baptist Church, the church he grew up attending, where a makeshift donation center had sprung up.
People would give anything. People give their shoes. People give their the clothes that they have, the money that they have, their resources, their homes, their whatever.
Similar scenes played out across Kentucky, where officials said it could take a week or longer to tally the toll of death and destruction from the tornadoes that tore through the state and several others late on Friday. For Mayfield responders, sifting through the rubble, this is the worst they've ever seen.
It's pretty bad. I'm from Louisville. I've been on several tornado deployments to help like we are here, and this is the worst I've ever seen.
No, theirs was the first house after that.
And for the tornado survivors sifting through the debris, it's hell on earth.
It's horrible. It's the definition of hell on earth. People's lost everything, and it's terrible. It's horrible.
Many Mayfield residents have been visiting their destroyed home and community, perhaps to find something that can be salvaged, but everything is in ruins, like in a war zone.
I actually didn't have any idea that my home was gone, so I didn't find out until later on. I was actually at work, actually helping other people. You don't know what to feel because you've never seen anything like this before. We just came out of a pandemic, and so you just wonder like what else, and then then this, so it's just unreal. It's unreal.
In spite of many people losing their homes and places of shelter, Philip Corroy, a commercial building owner, says he feels blessed.
Well, I feel lucky. I feel very lucky because it's something that you don't know when it's going to happen. And I know this is going to sound strange, so I feel blessed now. I know a lot of us, we lost a lot of things, but we haven't lost the life. That's the most important thing the human being can have in this life. Everything can be replaceable. This building can be replaced, that house, for life, you can.
We're still kind of in the state of how do we even start? Where do we go from here? Like just trying to see into the future, and it's right now we're not to that point yet. We don't even know where we're gonna start.
But it's gonna get better.
Yeah, it'll get better.
Neighbors help neighbors. We're gonna be back.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully we'll build right back where we're at, or were. So hopefully we'll be right here.
The rescue efforts focus in large part in Mayfield, home to 10,000 people in the southwestern corner of the state, where it converges with Illinois, Missouri, and Arkansas.
Crisis around the world is exacerbating food insecurity, where millions of people are suffering from hunger. This next report is on Afghanistan and Burkina Faso, where the UN says the latter faces an avalanche of hunger and destitution. And as a result of unending conflict, Burkina Faso is struggling with food shortages in the arid West African region.
The UN's World Food Programme, WFP, says almost all Afghans do not have enough to eat, and a failing economy could tip Afghanistan's increasingly dire situation under Taliban rule into catastrophe next year. WFP surveys showed an estimated 98% of Afghans are not eating enough, with 7 in 10 families resorting to borrowing food, which pushes them deeper into poverty.
An estimated 98% of Afghans are not consuming enough food, which is a worrisome 17% increase since August. Now, the spiraling economic crisis, the conflict and drought has meant the average family can now barely cope.
The abrupt withdrawal of foreign aid following the Taliban victory in August has left Afghanistan's fragile economy on the brink of collapse, with prices of food, fuel and other basic needs rising rapidly out of reach of many.
Families are resorting to desperate measures as the bitter winter sets in. 9 in every 10 families are now buying less expensive food, which tends to be less nutritious. They do not like it. It's less preferred, but they are food insecure and have no choice. 8 in 10 are eating less, and 7 in 10 are borrowing food in order to get by. So what this then happens is that they continue to sink deeper and deeper into the poverty and debt trap.
The WFP has provided food assistance to 15 million Afghans so far in 2021 and to 7 million in November alone. Next year, it plans to ramp up its assistance to 23 million people across all provinces in Afghanistan.
We cannot waste any moment. We cannot waste any opportunity to ramp up. So indeed, 15 million Afghans received WFP food assistance in 2021, but a massive uplift is needed as economy disintegrates. The United Nations World Food Programme is rapidly ramping up humanitarian operations in Afghanistan to assist more than 23 million people facing severe hunger in the country in 2022, as inflation and currency depreciation make it even more difficult to feed themselves.
Separately, Deputy High Commissioner for Human Rights Nada Al-Nashif said Afghan families face severe poverty and hunger, with many pushed into desperate measures, including child labor, early marriage, and even the sale of children. Over in Africa, besides displacement and poor harvests, hunger is also threatening northern Burkina Faso. 1 in 4 children under the age of 5, like 9-month-old Sakinotu Amado, suffers from stunted growth. This is due to malnutrition, among other things. Suspended from scales in a bucket, Sakinotu gripped the sides of her makeshift container as a nurse at a small clinic in northern Burkina Faso checked on her recovery from malnutrition. Sakinato's mother is dead, and she is being raised by her grandmother, whose family of 14 are among the 5.5 million people struggling with food shortages.
Her mother died. I took the child to the medical center. After the consultation, the child was found to be ill.
Burkina Faso derives 80% of its resources from agriculture, but since 2015, the country has been caught up in a spiral of violence attributed to armed jihadist groups affiliated to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State organization. In addition, 2 years of scarce rainfall and the global pandemic have led to a slowdown in the economy.
Those people have lost their animals, their fields, sometimes even all their crops.
The attacks are increasingly frequent and mostly concentrated in the north and east of the country, like in Dori in Seno province. Attacks have left around 2,000 people dead and 1.4 million displaced. Displaced people have sometimes left with nothing and are unable to cultivate their land.
This year, we have received 144 displaced pupils from areas with a very high security risk. When they came here, they were traumatized children. Parents, when they came to us with their children, you can see an indescribable sadness. Once we welcome the children and they see that at lunchtime they have a meal that they can share with other pupils, it facilitates integration. When you see these children eating with their peers, there's nothing like it. You can feel how relieved they are.
But every day now, a food distribution is provided at his school, but also he set a guarding up for the children.
When Foreign Dispatches returns in just a moment, despite the fears of the Omicron variant, Santa is coming to town as countries around the world bask in the euphoria of the Christmas season. Please stay with us. You're still watching Foreign Dispatches on Channels Television. Let's head now to South Sudan. South Sudanese artist Abdul Oyai Deng has made a name for herself, painting women and illustrating other themes through her artwork. Abdul, who is also a curator, wants to promote upcoming artists, especially women painters from across the region.
Abdul Oyai Deng Ajak is an artist, a painter, and a curator based in Juba, South Sudan. Abul says she always dreamed of becoming an artist as a child, so she started painting at a young age. Today, Abul has transformed into a well-known artist in the country, illustrating different themes in her work.
My father encouraged me to do something more general, like a business. So I ended up doing international business. But also on the other hand, he's the same person who is always encouraging me to paint. And he's like, this is a talent, but then do what also have a cause. So I think what really, the person that encouraged me a lot was him. Like every time he traveled, he came with brushes and paints and things like that. And I appreciate that.
Abul was born in Ethiopia in 1986, but when war erupted there, she was separated from her mother and came to Malakal in South Sudan with her paternal grandmother, who was a big influence on her. Women, therefore, are a constant theme in her body of work.
I was raised by women, especially growing up. Of course, we know the old story of South Sudan. All the men were in the battlefield. And so at the time, my father was never with us, you know. It's a subconscious thing, and I've been raised by very strong women.
Abul attended university in London, where she explored her skills further. The artist says she will draw and paint in her room and give out her work as gifts to friends. Her first exhibition took place in Juba after South Sudan declared independence in 2011. She not only wants to showcase her work, but also mentor upcoming artists, especially women painters from across the region. Abul wears many hats. She also works as Director of Museums, Culture and National Heritage in the Office of the Vice President, Gender and Youth Cluster.
My work in the office is practically the same thing that I'm doing here. It's only that it's not on canvas, but you know, culture, collecting artifacts, you know, history, things like that. So a lot of time I'm doing the same thing that I can be doing anywhere.
Full and equal representation of women in politics and decision-making is an issue close to her heart. For Abul, artists are the true reflection of various periods of our times, and says art therefore needs more recognition in Africa.
And as we end the program, we go around the world to see what Santa is up to, visiting children with a very different kind of transportation. And oh, of course, the beautiful lights and decorations bringing the Christmas cheer and ushering in the season.
The Vatican's shiny Christmas tree and nativity scene in St. Peter's Square is up with shiny, colorful lights. This year's 28-meter-tall red fir tree comes from a forest in the Dolomite Mountains on the border between Italy and Austria in the northern Trentino region. It was chosen by the Vatican because it was harvested as part of a sustainability project and is covered with handmade wooden decorations. Christmas decorations and festive lights are out in full force in Paris for the holiday season, with Parisians and tourists shopping and looking at the festive window displays on the Champs-Élysées, lit up by shimmering lights. Hundreds of kayaks, decked with Christmas lights and decorations, lit up the winter darkness as they float through the canals in central Copenhagen to celebrate St. Lucia's Day. Bystanders watched from streets and bridges around the city as around 700 kayakins moved along the canal for a parade to bring light into the darkness.
Santa Lucia is something that is bringing light to people in darkness, and we do live in a dark period right now where people are, fighting for different reasons and not agree about so many different things, plus the winter and the darkness of the winter. So we really like to do Santa Lucia in Kayak Bar because our motto and our purpose to be here is to bring people together. And that's what Santa Lucia means for us, that we can bring people together following the light. I would say 700 kayakers, 700 kayakers at least.
And is that a record?
No, I think in a normal year without these corona times, I think in a normal year that's what we normally do, 700, 800 kayakers.
The streets of New York are dancing with lights as the city celebrates the holidays. The Fifth Avenue Association has sprinkled 9 blocks of holiday-inspired art installations. The illuminated sculptures include a taxi cab and a toy box. Manhattan department stores are continuing their tradition of creative and innovative window displays. In Japan, this Santa diver is bringing holiday cheer to fish and visitors at the Yokohama Hakijima Sea Paradise. Hakijima has previously held similar events, but this is the first time for the Santa diver to visit the tunnel tank. The Santa will continue to make daily dives in the same tank until Christmas Day. And from water to the air, Santa is flying in on helicopter to bring joy to children with cancer in Guatemala. It's subtly telling reindeers to move over because Santa has a new mode of transport in the Ciudad de Mexico. Santa is getting a little help from the fire brigade in Peru using a fire truck and its cherry picker to safely deliver presents to children with COVID-19 who are isolating. With the help of the fire brigade, Santa has reached over 120 children through the windows of the Pan American Village. Adding to the Christmas spirit, health workers below danced to carols while kids cheered for a mask-clad Santa as he got closer to their windows. Paul Suarez, who volunteers as Santa, says the most important thing is hearing kids say, "I love you, Santa."
The most important thing is the love you get. Saying "I love you, Santa" is magical. Why? It may seem like it's not important, but it is. Because I'm not a close relative, I'm not their mom or dad. What kid tells someone that's not from their family that they love them?
In the meantime, Santas are riding motorbikes through Berlin to keep Christmas spirit alive. Dozens of Santas and Christmas angels rode their colorful motorcycles through the city to also bring joy to children. Armed with the prerequisite beard, presents, and red bags, Santas on motorcycles, scooters, quads, and even trike bikers toured the city to deliver presents to people in need as part of the annual tradition.
Well, this is where we say goodbye till next time, but remember, our top stories are never far away. You can catch them on channelstv.com. Thank you so much for watching the program. I'm Layo Adegoke. Stay safe.